Dirty Moors still attempt to infiltrate the order. Active Moors are truth and take it to the corners. Across highways, past hedges and through borders. Move on dirty Moors like broken dam waters. Watch out for agents and provocateurs trying to get next to their heads with the doctor cures. They never pay dues and don't pay dues, contradicting with King Alfred to give clues like news. Noble Drew Ali died from Palemore blues. Prophet saved him his money before the floor fell through, and that's true. Even though I don't have proof, selling memory tells me don't fall for spoof. Drop mental nukes, hanging from their own vine from the fig tree, looking up at them like Big B. No white flag or mercy for you fags. 5 point and pentagram is on our flag. Green, but not for cream. That dirty Moors took to throw off the balance of the Grand Treasury books, getting offers like high school ballers. Those that infiltrate are not Moors but robbers, robbing the people blind, deaf, dumb, and crippled. They can't tear this up, not one drop or trickle. No matter how hard they try to perpetrate the fraud, dirty Moors always fall on their sword.
The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. To know what you are, we started dropping it. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. To know what you are, we started dropping it. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. To know what you are, we started dropping it. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. To know what you are, we started dropping it.
Me nah play with uno so simmer and easy. From 19 how long, me see it's sleazy. So sick, it's measly and disgusting. Everyone stood there. The Moors did nothing when Drew was attacked. They took the covenant that they will protect him and have his back. Behind on dues by 4 months. Going to kangaroo courts to perform stunts. Temples versus temples. Lawsuits from inner fights. Not doing their job, 3,500 for birthright. Mufti Force left supposed to be in Gucci stores. We've gotta thank Allah for the Sufi Moors and Buddhist Nagas. Moorish Mike Renaissance, not rap sagas. Confusion clearer, empty battle scar wearer. Moorish nationality declarer. Straighten out the crooked ways, rap conduct squarer.
The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. To know what you are, we started dropping it. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. To know what you are, we started dropping it. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. To know what you are, we started dropping it. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. To know what you are, we started dropping it.
Let me strip them down, I'm the bone bearer. Negro, black, colored, minority, death preparer. Not the being, but the label attached. See me like Martin, going crazy, waving gas. Cause you call yourself black, that's a kick me sign on your life. Can't stab your enemy holding the blade of the knife. Numbskull MCs flow so dull that I'm pulling down Orishas like skull caps to torture the rapper, scissor sippers. Rapper, CD scratcher, insert ripper. Call me Jack and get slapped though. Admiral when I flow, major like macro. Don't spit on a cameraman like Pac will, but beat the case like Black Bill but no lawyer. Ask Jim Carrey, liar, liars do nothing for you while they get rich and poor you. Make you follow magistrate orders that get the coke to snort from wood corners and block ghetto. All I see is rappers, dress codes, repedo, tight shirts, skinny jeans looking like heavy metal bands. I'm not Bay but L like Gred and Hands. I grab mics, no sweat in hands, with birthright brands. I don't worry about getting scanned.
The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. To know what you are, we started dropping it. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. To know what you are, we started dropping it. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. To know what you are, we started dropping it. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. To know what you are, we started dropping it.
What up?
Islam, peace and love, Moors. I am Ms. Rain Ill, along with my co-host, Kujo Awa Ill, Grand Sheik. Bro, are you there? Islam, fam. That's what it is. Yeah, that's what it feels like. Exactly. So, again, you know, everything happens in due time. We apologize that, you know, we missed October. We wanted to do 2 in November, or so-called November, which it is, and we're going to discuss that a little bit. We felt it was only right, being as though we missed October, and this is cosmologically the 9th month. You know, if you do the etymology on November, this is the 9th month. So I figured that we're going to talk about a few things, different subjects that are all interrelated. But it was only right that since we missed October and we're back in November, that the theme somewhat be about the science of the number 9. And also inspired by something that was posted on RVBey Publications. Check the homepage now if you haven't been on there this week. It was a post that my mother put up in conjunction or subsequent to the Sister Standing on Law class that, you know, she made reference to something from CCY. And there's a lot to talk about on this subject of number 9. And, like, with this statement, it's powerful. You know, it's powerful. First and foremost, too, acknowledgement to all Moors, everybody, you know, free, locked down, etc. I think kind of correlating with the science of the number 9 and what you see posted on the front page of RVBey Publications from CCY. I think that, you know, it's true. If we know the science, you know, we can start subtracting, you know, those who go into these institutions, or there will actually be no need for them. Again, this was imperative in the aspect to talk about in conjunction with missing October and coming back in the 9th month. But if anybody doesn't have internet access, doesn't have CCY-based books, I'm just going to set the tone of the class, Killer Broadcast, with this statement, and then expand on it a little bit. And Cujo, I know it's still we have a whole lot to talk about. But just in respect to the times and what's going on right now, I'll quote, and I thank my mother for posting this up, you know, because sometimes you see something and then you go back to it years later and you're like, oh, wow, you know what I mean? This is what it is. So, yeah, we're sons of Allah, indeed. You know, we are sons, in fact, but our existence, of course, would not be without the womb, the woman. So when we know these or anything about these sciences, how they directly relate, I feel as though we're obligated to share what we do know. And I'm just thankful for the venue that we are on right now to be able to do this. Big acknowledgement to you, Cujo, for being here and on this too, and everything that you do. I see you working out there as you have been. I'm going to talk about a few things in a little bit, but let's just go into this number 9 real quick in conjunction with the 9th month and what's on the front page of RVBey Publications right now. And it says, if women on national scales. Now, that statement right there alone, it kind of had me thinking about Libra. Just that statement right there, national scales. All right? But I'm going to read this through. It says, if women on national scales possess the applied knowledge of the secrets of the number 9, they will be supremely qualified to educate their children to the practical side of life during its 9 months maturity from conception to birth. Then there would be no need for the institutions of religious mystery worship, idol or image god. Jailhouses, prisons, and insane institutions will not be needed, for there will be no racial hatred or crime. And this man is saying this just based off the science of the number 9, which I find to be very possible and true. Very possible and true. I think that, again, we wouldn't hear about so many people being locked up. I mean, talking about applying this science. If we knew this, you know what I mean, from birth, like from children, you know. But he goes on to say, secrets of the number 9 and 12 signs of the zodiac involving woman and child from conception to birth is referred to in the book of John Revelations as the opening of the 7 seals, from which has marked the very end of Christian theology and the rise of women with civilization, namely the Moorish or Asiatic women of the, quote, United States. You know, we have understanding about the United States, but this is what it says, who have been labeled Negro colored people by the sociologists of the Roman Cross Order. And how does this affect us? Because we come to, if she was branded Negro, and we already know the condition of the child is determined by the mother. If the Moorish or Asiatic woman was privy to the science, we would be too automatically from birth. It's a birthright. That being said,
let me just interject quickly for the people who want to push this idea of there's something other than Moors. Recognize that if you're not saying that you're Moor, then that means you're not matriarchal.
Islam, no, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. You hear me? If you're saying you're Moor, you're tied to the matriarch. If you say you're anything else, you're tying yourself to patriarchy.
Indeed, indeed. Which brings me to a point about the video that you sent me last night. We're going to get into that. Let's put a pin in the word ruthless, and we get back to that a little later. Because you brought that out in this particular video. Canaan Land Moors correcting so-called black consciousness. Pardon me if I got the title right. You can go ahead and affirm what the title of that video actually is.
Canaan Land Moors.
Sorry, we'll get the title right before the end of this class. So we'll stay tuned.
For sure. Yeah.
Indeed. So back to the science of this number 9 and the matriarch as you was just bringing out. It correlated back to something I saw and absorbed in the book The Light of Egypt. All right? And it goes in to the number 9, among other things, you know. But where I wanted to start at was quoting from this. This is page 190 from The Light of Egypt. It says, biogenesis is the divine law, which is life from life. God is life and life is thought. There are only certain fundamental truths that are true per se, which possess definite reality. And it goes on to say they are 9 in number, can be finally reduced to 1, a trinity of trinities, which 3 times 3 is 9. It says the first trinity is the primary concept of all things, which has neither beginning nor end, unconditioned, therefore boundless. For all speculative purposes, it's going into the first trinity, which is mind, substance, and motion. All right, so remember, he says trinity of trinities, and the first one is mind, substance, and motion. Those 3 right there related to so many things on the earth plane for me, you know, and I hope to correlate this for others, or I trust to correlate this for others. Because when it says mind, substance, and motion, we know Noble Drew Ali left the language in chapter 1 that man is mind. All right, substance and then motion. Motion referred back to me with the right to travel. That's how I saw it, like motion, right to travel, okay, movement. This is a divine and national movement. So it says, mind, substance, motion may be considered as intelligence, ether, and force. And the outcome of this triune concept is the evolution of the grand something upon which the entire fabric of the universe depends. And this is consciousness. The impersonal becomes as it were personal. And there comes into being the thing that thinks, apart from the universal thought. From this comes the next, or the second trinity, which is 1, I am, 2, God is, or the sovereign of the universe, Allah, we know, and 3, the universe exists. So I am, Allah is, and the universe exists. And it goes on to say, this is very different from the first trinity, contains only one indisputable fact. And that one indisputable fact is I am. This it knows. Goes on to say, the last trinity is life, change, and creation. And this at last on earth. Everything is alive. There is no death, only change, eternal change. And the idea, the thing that thinks creates, and is thus a conscious microcosm patterned after the boundless unconscious macrocosm. So those three trinities make up a nine. I can't say that's the be-all, end-all of the applied science of the number 9, but I feel and I trust, shall I say, that knowing this makes a difference. Another concept I wanted to add on about the number 9. This is from page 206 of The Light of Egypt. And what it says here is that man has 5 positive points of projection and 4 positive centers of energy. So the 5 and the 4, that makes the 9. Thus making up the mystical 9, which is the symbol of deity or divinity. And remember, never forget, this is a divine and national movement. It goes on to say, in addition to these, he has one great receptive center, which completes the number of the 10 Sephiroth. The head, hands, and feet are the 5 points of projection from which streams the vital force, from which streams of vital force are constantly radiating. So your head, your hands, your feet, these are the 5 positive points of projection. These are symbolized by the 5-pointed star and the 5-sided figure. This is what it says in this book. Now, we know how that correlates back to our nationality, is that we have the green 5-pointed star in the center interlaced, which is definitely the hieroglyph for man in the flesh, male or female. But we know that you have to give honors to what came before you or what had to be here first, and that's what it is. So you have the red and the green, and the green star represents Venus. That's what it is. It's the energy of woman, right? Goes on to say, this quintile, which was used as the Grecian or the Greek symbol Hygia, was the Pythagorean symbol of health, all right? And when these 5 points radiate their forces in straight lines from their various centers, the result is perfect health. So these are the 5 positive points of projection, and we're going to get to the other 4, which make up the 9. So keep in mind, you have people who deal with different sciences. You have masseuses, people who deal with Reiki, all of these things. This is energy, vital life energy force that, they're in tune with. I can't give you all the knowledge about that, but I know that the projection is from the hands, the head, and the feet. Whether you're dealing with that or not, you can shake somebody's hand and feel their energy or pick up their vibration or whatever it is, which is why, sometimes you might not want to pick up on everybody's vibration. So Moors had different grips where I might grip you on your forearm and greet you in that fashion. I don't, there's different reasons why. But, it's also a symbol of unity. Don't get me wrong. That also means something. But to get to the next 4, it says the positive centers, because we talked about those that project, you know what I mean? So it says the positive centers of energy within the Adalic sphere, which the Adalic sphere is basically 7 auras around you corresponding to 7 Elohim. It says these 4 positive centers are the brain, the spleen, the heart, and the generative organs, while the great center of reception is the solar plexus. When trouble or anxiety of mind crosses our path, the first place where we feel its influence is that part of the body called the pit of the stomach. This sensitive region is within the solar plexus. How many times do forebodings of coming trouble impress themselves upon this delicate center? Question. As a rule, when we are in trouble, we have no appetite. This calls forth inharmony in the various secretions of the body. All right? So I'm going to leave that there. That was all correlative to the science of the number 9. And all of this goes back to law because we know that, when we're born, we are the law. And this is a divine and national process. Birth alone is divine and national. With that being said, in conjunction with the number 9, I just want to read the 9th Amendment, wherein it says, the enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. Now, the people got here through a divine and national process. So your birthrights are still divine and national, which brought me to another point to correlate. Being as though this is so divine, so broad, they couldn't all be circumscribed, or scribed in the Constitution. So it brought me to a reference from John Bouvier's Institutes of American Law, preliminary book number 8. And again, this correlates with the number 9, our birthrights in the law. Whereas it says to make a law, there must be a superior who has authority to make it. All right, there must be a superior who has authority to make it, and an inferior who is bound by it. To complete the definition of law, we must say that it is a rule prescribed by a, quote, lawful superior. Now, this goes back to nationality, divine and national status. All right? There has to be an inferior to make anybody subject to the law. Out in the world, people talk about equality. Equality is not superiority. Some people have nobility and elevated rights. I'm not saying this to sound, like we're better than anybody. But the truth is, while we're on this American continent or anywhere in the world, Moors, we're not inferior to foreigners, aliens, Europeans. So how do they end up making laws that we are bound by? Can't work. Can't work unless we accept that. Unless we accept that, that's the only way it can work. And this is law. So to move on the same subject of divine and national, it says God is the first great superior. Now, when these Europeans say God, in the sense, more as we know, break out your etymology books, and we know God is an action word. But for those, who don't know that, and they think God is the supreme being, it's talking to the common man. All right, so it says, for lack of a better word, the sovereign of the universe is the first great superior. Peace and order in society would not be guaranteed by the principles of human legislation. Those principles were not protected by the salutary influence of true religion. Not just religion, but true religion. All right? Now, what is that true religion? Cosmology, astrology, which goes back to what CCY was saying. If we knew the secrets of the number 9 and 12 signs of the zodiac involving women and child from conception to birth, we wouldn't need jailhouses. We wouldn't need prisons and insane institutions because the science goes very deep. So that being said, it correlates. This is what true religion is. Going on, it says, and human laws will be insufficient to regulate the conduct of men if their action was not supported, directed, and supplied by religion. And morality and religion would of themselves be powerless to ensure the peace of society without the aid of the civil law. All right, this is John Bouvier's Institutes of American Law, preliminary book number 8. All right, so it's saying that, true religion, all of this is important, but it would be powerless to ensure the peace of society without the aid of the civil law. Hence, this is why Moors are the mothers and founders of civilization. because we had to make sure, you know, we're the ones who originally set up, you know, the administration for impartial dispensation of law. We could go back to times where, you know, we did cruel and unusual things for punishment, but you know, the civil law, true religion, all of these are really, you know, they reciprocate each other. You know, they one wouldn't be right without, like, civil law was influenced by true religion, but to maintain the peace of society or ensure the peace of society, this wouldn't be possible without the aid of the civil law. Now, I want to correlate something else that just hit me. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's either chapter 29, 30, or 31 in the Circle 7. And it says that the peace of society dependeth on justice. I got that committed to memory. The peace of society depends on justice. So, again, correlating, you know, that morality and religion would of themselves be powerless to ensure the peace of society without the aid of the civil law. And one of our 5 national principles being justice, you know, all of this correlates back. You know what I mean? Like, even to the Circle 7, Noble Drawley was saying the same thing in essence. But that being the case, being as though we are the mothers and fathers of civilization, and we founded these institutions of civilization, whether it be pyramids, you know, courthouses, you know, all of this goes back to the science of the 12, the 9, you know, the or the number 0 through 9. And with that, I just want to quote Article 2 of the Zodiac Constitution. And this is what else CCY has to say. Remind you, the theme is 9 in conjunction with the fact this is the 9th month. It says, since the 12 jurymen of the 48 Union States document of, quote, white supremacy, now we know that they're not white people. I'm just refining and correlating these truths. We know what European is a European, and that Moors are really the white people, but we'll discuss that a little later. It says, all right, so since these 12 jurymen of the 48 Union States Magna Carta document of supremacy and the nine judges of their Supreme Court, this man did not say of our Supreme Court, he said of their Supreme Court, were founded upon our Moorish Zodiac 12 signs mathematic constitution, the lawmakers have no jurisdiction over the free Moors, the Beys and Ills, and the inherited land of the Moorish nation. All right. So, Article 2 Zodiac Constitution, that still correlates with this divine and how we can apply this, like, in real life. All right. There's another fact about the number 9. I was reading in the History of the Moorish Empire in Europe, Volume 1, page 323. And it says the average duration of an emir's official life was exactly 27 months. 2 plus 7 is 9. All right? This is history correlating with the divine science of the number 9. Again, being as though we're here, so-called 9th month, and this is the month or the moon wherein they celebrate so-called Thanksgiving. Just wanted to correlate something else with the number 9 there. The event that is commonly called the first Thanksgiving, celebrated by the European pilgrims after their first harvest in America in 1621. All right. That being the case, you know they had to be dealing with, well, really they got the lessons from us, but they had to still be dealing with the science of the 9 and the 12 signs of the zodiac, sun and moon, to even plant anything to get a harvest, because you have to remember, again, the original symbol of Thanksgiving was not the turkey, it was the cornucopia, which means that these were fruits, vegetables, things of that nature, you know, and this was the first time they had actually been able to harvest or reap anything from trying to deal with the science of reaping anything from Mother Earth. We assisted them with that. But it goes on to say this feast lasted 3 days, and it was attended by 90 Native Americans. 9 plus 0 is 9, family. Apply science to the number 9. 90 Native Americans as accounted by attendee Edward Winslow. Reference Edward Winslow, 1622, Moor's Relation, page 133. All right. So it was 90 Native Americans, which we know are Moors, in fact, and 53 Pilgrims or Europeans. That being said, there's a lot to really look at and correlate with this divine science of the number 9, not to exclude the fact that, we have 9 months in the womb, which is governed by the moon. The moon makes everything grow, whether it be fruits, vegetables, children to adults. This is the influence that's magnetic and makes us grow. Just the law of nature. So again, that I found pretty imperative. Correlating back to the video. I know you have something to add on. Knowing that Moors were on both sides of the Great Atlantis, in the Western Hemisphere and in the Eastern Hemisphere, Northern Hemisphere, Southern Hemisphere. We were everywhere. But when I was watching the video you sent last night, it was a part in there that just stuck with me. I heard it before, but this time it just stuck. When you went into the first lesson that they learned in the Masonic lodges is about Ruth the Moabite. And you were saying, you were actually breaking this down, how if you don't declare a nationality, you're considered ruthless, right? We all heard the expression, oh, this person is ruthless, arrogant, ignorant, whatever. Well, without a nationality, you'll be considered ruthless. And to me, it correlates with a lot, but also it correlates to me with this history of the Moorish Empire in Europe, volume 2, actually. This is volume 2 on page 408. And it's also correlated to me with Thanksgiving, because you heard the saying that history repeats itself. There's nothing new under the sun, et cetera, et cetera. So when you mentioned that word ruthless, this is what made me think. And I know, because most of the times, and I know you're going to add on to this, most of the times people think Moors, they think it's Spain, and their inquiry stops there. You know what I mean? Oh, they just chalk it up to Moors. Yeah, the Moors invaded Spain, but it wasn't the Commissions and all of this here. We know that that's absolutely misconceptions. But now, this is what correlated. So Thanksgiving, ruthless being without a nationality, etc. Page 408, History of the Moorish Empire in Europe, Volume 2. It says, the ruthless policy of an age which made war with the barbarity at present happily extinct demanded the absolute destruction of everything which could afford either shelter or substance to a foe. The Castilians' principle soon transformed the beautiful plain of Seville into a prospect of appalling desolation. The houses were burned, the harvests, all right, this is what correlated to me with Thanksgiving. It says the harvests were trampled into the earth, the vineyards were destroyed, the orchards, the orange groves, the almond and pomegranate plantations were cut down and set on fire. But it started off at this particular presentation that the ruthless policy of an age. And with that being said, I know you have a lot to correlate on that subject. But another thing I wanted to say, and I'm going to respectively yield the floor, Noble, Speaking about Moors in the Western Hemisphere, knowing that we were all over the planet, this is just a quote from Pictorial History of America, ancillary book Aborigines of America, page 45, which happens to be a 9. It says, the American continent, like that of Africa and Asia, presents several points of primitive civilization, of which the mutual relations are as unknown as those of Morocco, Tibet, and China. Again, reference Pictorial History of America, book Aborigines of America, page 45. That was just my light interpretation on the number 9. I trust that the concepts did some good. It just felt like, missing last month and coming back in the 9th month, that this was something we should talk about in essence, among other things. So with that, my brother, I respectively yield the floor to the wisdom you have to add on. Islam.
Give thanks for that build, Moor. Islam to all the Moors worldwide.
Right.
We haven't been there for a little bit, you know what I mean? People got stuff to do, and it's good to know that Moors are still studying, and not putting it down because certain people are putting it down, whether it's for a second or a minute or whatever. So, honors to all the Moors that are doing their best to get the information of nationality and birthrights to our people, and that are taking it upon themselves to make sure that when the opportunity arises, when you get your window to present yourself or your lineage, that you do it with utmost confidence in the fact that we were taught who we are by the noble prophet. We were taught who we are. So we don't have anything to prove to anybody with regard to our position, right? The things that we're doing is to make sure that the unconscious Moors, the Moors who are kind of fence riding, but they're under the influence of emotionalism, knowledge emotionalism, that when they start thinking for themselves, they're going to realize that people have been playing them out their birthright. They're going to realize that the amount of time that they took following all this crap that they've been following, we could have had all this stuff that we're saying that we want and that we're begging somebody to give us. But because we strayed away from the divine principle of recognizing that matriarch is what sets the order for everything to be in order. As soon as you go away from the matriarch, so when we look at, the breakdown of the 9, and we recognize that that's a science, know that the beaker that the experiment takes place in is feminine. And then the manifest is going to be feminine, well, sometimes masculine. And all these, when Noble Drew Ali told the Moors, we honor all true and divine prophets. When you go check all their stuff, their things are leading you to matriarchy. For example, I'm a Moor, I always wear my Buddhist beads. There's always Tibetans and Chinese Buddhists and Taoists and whoever that, we bump into just in travel. And one told me one time that you should get your concepts from encyclopedias. So don't worry about holy books and all that stuff like that. Go to encyclopedias. Why? Because the concept of the encyclopedia comes from the coming together of the elders to write the sacred whatever for, the mortals. So when you refer to an encyclopedia, you're getting international perspectives. You're getting perspectives from all over when you go to encyclopedia.
True.
So the Chinese Buddhist encyclopedia, right? So the encyclopedia for Chinese Buddhists only, right? So remember, this is, the elders came together of the Buddhists and they said, okay, we're going to put out an encyclopedia so we can explain Buddhism, whoever wants to know. The number 9 and its multiples. The Han and Tibetan ethnic groups, as well as some ethnic groups in southwest China, consider the number 9 to be auspicious. The Temple of Heaven in Beijing, for example, has a circular altar consisting of 3 layers, each layer with 9 circles. 9 stone slabs or multiples of 9 were used to pave each of the circles. In Tibetan areas, people favor the odd-numbered days of the first half of the month and shun the remaining days. When presenting gifts to friends, they give gifts in odd numbers, amounting to at most 9 or 13. They never present gifts in plural numbers. According to the Tibetans, their ancestor had 9 brothers. The heavenly god has 9 heads. King Jesser used 9 arrows to shoot 9 rams and 9 ewes. When offering a toast, the Tibetans drink 3 cups of wine 3 times. Numbers that are multiples of 9 include 18, 36, 72, 81, and 108. They are also considered auspicious. The Jokhang Monastery, Jokhang Monastery, is held up by 108 pillars, and according to Tibetan Buddhist teaching, mankind suffers from 108 types of concerns that can be eliminated by the power of Buddhism. So, the appearance is patriarch, or the Buddha and monks and, leave women alone and all this type of stuff. But then their whole stuff is based on 9, which is women.
Mm-hmm.
Which is the feminine principle. And then when you check the beads, 108 prayer beads on the Buddhist chain. Because it is a science. It is acknowledged by other people in other cultures, right? And again, all the dogmatized schools of thought play patriarchy, because that's just how they were taught by the people who Noble Drew Ali told them, give them back their stuff in 1900s. So that's for their earthly salvation. I have your stuff right here. What's that? Oh, it's about honor women. Well, no, I don't know about that, because, you know what I mean, women need to, and then they start doing their, you know what I mean, flexing and disregarding the feminine principle, and then want to know how come all these youths out here that are supposed to be males have more feminine tendencies than the females nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
You know, females are still going to be females, even if they're tomboys. They're still female. Man can't switch. You know what I mean? We were created to be the doer, because thought is supreme. Ain't nothing coming on the earth plane unless it's in thought first.
Sure.
And earth plane includes the universe. So who thought of those stuff that's out there? Black holes or whatever. Who thought about a black hole that we could look at a black hole right now? I mean, who thought about quasars? Who thought that we're looking at that thing? Who thought, if you've seen a so-called unidentified flying object, who thought that thing that's making these zigzags and all this stuff? Who thought that? Who said, yo, I'm going to make a spaceship, we're going to zigzag across the universe or whatever? The depth of it is that even thought is feminine. You know, and just like you say, man is mind, because man is really woman.
Mm-hmm.
First,
right.
And then man after. Right, so staying on the theme of 9 for a little bit, we want to relate something. Noble Drew Ali told us that we honor all true and divine prophets. And when we research the prophets, you find out a little bit more than you were expecting to, because of how deep this is. Right?
True.
There's as Moors know, there's a book, articles, or whatever, of oral statements and prophecies of Noble Drew Ali that individuals that aren't on the science will try to persuade people or convince people that, well, we don't know if he said that because, you know, somebody said he said that. But then when we study the prophets, for example, if we say Confucius, you'll find out that Confucius had a book of oral statements and prophecies. Right? The Analects of Confucius, where nobody's questioning the fact of, did these people really say that he said this and all that stuff like they do with Noble Drew Ali? They go with it. They don't even question, well, is this real? Did they really say that? That can't be a prophecy because, you know, he's just a man and all this type of stuff. They didn't do any of that. they took the people who said that they were disciples of him, they took the stuff that they said, that he said, and they said, all right, we're going to go with this in order to have what society sees as Confucianism or whatever today, a quote-unquote religion. But when only the guy was around and the people who were studying under him, they were going with what somebody was with him heard him say as fact.
Right.
So it's no wonder that Noble Drew Ali put that out, because it had to be him in the mind of whoever had the idea to say, well, we need to, because remember, there's only dirty Moors around Noble Drew Ali. So, and it's not like it's CMBey or somebody who we know was with him that was down with the program that put out oral statements. These are modern Moors. Because as far as the connections, there is no disconnect between Noble Drew Ali and anybody else called Prophet. Like, it's the same frequency. And the concept is to get people back to their thoughts being tied to their ancient foremothers and forefathers in order for them to be liberated. So in the Analects of Confucius, there's people who take those writings and decipher them, right? So an individual by the name of Charles Muller, Charles M-U-L-L-E-R, took the Analects and, broke down certain parts of it, based on his, 5 senses. So, chapter 1, verse 1. The Master said, "Isn't it a pleasure to study and practice what you have learned? Isn't it also great when friends visit from distant places? If people do not recognize me and it doesn't bother me, am I not a nobleman?" Comment. Nobleman is an English translation for the Chinese term Junzi, which originally meant son of a prince, thus someone from the nobility. In the Analects, Confucius imbues the term with special meaning. Though sometimes used strictly in its original sense, it also refers to a person who has made significant progress in the way of self-cultivation by developing a sense of justice, by loving treatment of parents, respect for elders, honesty with friends, etc. Though the Junzi is a highly advanced human being, he is still distinguished from the category of sage, who is, in the Analects, more of a divine being, usually a model from great antiquity. The character of the nobleman, in contrast to the sage, is being taught as a tangible model for all in the here and now. And although many descriptions of the requirements of Junzi status seem quite out of our reach, there are many passages where Confucius labels a contemporary or one of his disciples a nobleman, intending a compliment. Thus, the categorization was not so rigid. One might not compare the term nobleman to to, one might want to compare the term nobleman to the Buddhist Bodhisattva, in that both are the models for the tradition. Both indicate a very high stage of human development as technical terms, and both may be used to refer to a really good person. So this frequency has traveled through time, right? Because Confucius was before Noble Drew Ali, and Noble Drew Ali is echoing Confucius' statement, because you're not going to disrupt the line. There's a common theme. Like, how is it that Confucius has such a direct relationship to the term noble? And the only individual that was doing any type of liberating of Negro, black, colored people to call themselves noble and say, make sure you study Confucius, was Noble Drew Ali. So when we go to the oral statements or the Analects of Noble Drew Ali, number 9, Brother J. Foster Bey, Assistant Grand Sheikh of Temple 25 and a member of Temple 4 in the 1920s, said that the Holy Prophet said, when the fire comes, I will be the water. When the fire comes, I will be the water. Right? Now, he's making reference to 2 of the quadrants in the circle. The circle of life. He's making reference to astrology, fire signs, water signs. He has this universal concept. And then remember the 101 questionnaire where he has the picture of him holding the sister. That's unconscious. And humanity is written on her. So uplifting fallen humanity is giving the science back. Uplifting fallen humanity is patriarch recognizing that patriarch can't activate the science of the number 9. Can't. It's not happening. I don't care what you want to try, rituals you got, who you've been following, and they told you to do whatever rituals to unlock the feminine, whatever. You're not getting anywhere with that. If you're a male.
True.
Now,
Word.
Now we'll go to, again, just to touch on 9, and this is just to show that everything correlates, right? That when you started talking, I was like, hey, yeah, I'll just pull up 9 of all Noble Drew Ali stuff or whatever. Okay, so you got 9 that, 9 that. Okay, so have the Holy Quran chapter 9, right? Now, you mentioned something earlier about equality. There's no, I mean, like we said, there's Freestyle Thursday. So freestyle means that this is not no plan or anything like that. This is not me and Ms. talked, an hour before the show, like, yeah, we'll talk about this, and then I'll break this down. That's not what this is.
Yo, cool, Joe. I'm glad you brought that up. Like, before you go back in, like, clarify that. Like, all these classes that we've done was straight from the heart. It's not like you and I, say, you might get a break-in story and be like, oh, Miss, check this out. Or I might see something and be like, oh, cool, Joe, check this out. But we never, ever, be like, I'm going to say this, you're going to say that. Like, and to me, like, the chemistry with that, I'm just thankful for that, man. We make it work. You feel what I'm saying? That's how I know we be on the same wave, because none of these classes are planned. People don't know. For the most part, half the time we be like, yo, we don't even know what we're going to talk about to the last hour. and you know what I'm saying? That we make it happen. So not for nothing, but just to add on, that's true, man. That's really true.
So Jesus attends a feast in Bahar, and here he taught human equality. The fame of Jesus as a teacher spread through all the land, and people came from near and far to hear his words of truth. At Bahar, on the sacred river of the Brahms, he taught for many days. And Ak, a wealthy man of Bahar, made a feast in honor of his guests, and he invited everyone to come. And many came, among them thieves, extortioners, and courtesans. And Jesus sat with them and taught. But they who followed him were much aggrieved, because he sat with the thieves and courtesans. And they upbraided him. They said, Rabboni, master of the wise, this day will be an evil day for you. The news will spread that you consort with courtesans, and men will shun you as they shun an asp. And Jesus answered them and said, a master never screens himself for the sake of reputation or of fame. These are but worthless baubles of the day. They rise and sink like empty bottles on a stream. They are illusions and will pass away. They are the indices to what the thoughtless think. They are noise that people make. And shall men judge merit by the noise? Allah and all mastermen judge men by what they are and not what they seem to be, not only their reputation and their fame. These courtesans and thieves are children of my Father Allah. Their souls are just as precious as his sight as yours, in his sight as yours, or of the Brahmic priests. And they are working out the same life sums that you have solved, you men who look at them with scorn. And some of them have solved much harder than you have solved, you men who look at them with scorn. Yes, they are sinners and confess their guilt, while you are guilty, but are shrewd enough to have a polished coat to cover up your guilt. Suppose you men who scorn the courtesans, these drunkards and these thieves, who know that you are pure in heart and life, that you are better far than they, stand forth, that men know just who you are. The sin lies in the wish, in the desire, not in the act. Equals wealth. You look at charming forms, and deep within your heart you lust for them. Deceit you practice every day, and wish for gold, for honor and for fame, just for your selfish selves. The man who covet is a thief, and she who lusts is courtesan. You who are none of these, speak out. Nobody spoke.
Case closed. Case closed.
And Jesus said, the proof this day is all against those who have accused. The pure in heart do not accuse. The vile in heart who want to cover up their guilt with holy smoke of piety are never loathing drunkards, thieves, and courtesans. This loathing and this scorn is mockery. For if the tinseled coat of reputation could be torn away, the loud professor would be found to revel in his lust, deceit, and many forms of secret sin. The man who spends his time pulling other people's weeds can have no time in pulling his own, and all the choicest flowers of life will be choked and die, and nothing will remain but darnel, thistles, and burrs. And Jesus spoke a parable. He said, Behold, a farmer had great fields of ripened grain, and when he looked, he saw the blades of many stalks and wheat were bent and broken down. And when he sent his reapers forth, he said, We will not save the stalks of wheat that have the broken blades. Go forth and cut and burn the stalks with broken blades. And after many days he went to measure up his grain, but not a kernel could he find. And then he called the harvesters and said to them, Where is my grain? They answered him and said, We did according to your word. We gathered up and burned the stalks with broken blades, and not a stalk was left to carry to the barn. And Jesus said, If Allah saves only those who have broken blades, who have been perfected in his sight, who will be saved? And the accusers hung their heads in shame, and Jesus went his way. And that was chapter 9 of the Holy Quran of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, Moorish Science Temple of America, divinely prepared by Noble Jew Ali. So, when we look at that chapter, right, the point is to acknowledge that we all have our dirt, and nobody can play they're higher than somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody can play these, you know what I mean? And again, why? Because that's a patriarchal mindset.
Mm-hmm.
It's a patriarchal mindset to think that let's people's land.
Mm-hmm.
It's a patriarchal mindset to say, no, women shouldn't have rights.
Right.
It's a patriarchal mindset to say, you know, there's a president or a prime minister or whatever, and the wife is the first lady.
How many first ladies can there be, right?
Right?
Like every president, they like, this is his first lady.
First
lady.
Damn,
like 20 presidents. So where's the second? Where's the third? Fourth? Right? Where's the ninth one?
That's it. Okay. It is about acknowledging that the matriarch is the undercurrent. You know what I mean? The matriarch is the spirit making the body do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And there has to be a matriarchal renaissance, because we're 100 years behind, and ever since Noble Jew Ali, all I seen is patriarchal stuff going on as far as Moors are concerned. And then when the matriarchs step up, you know, quick fact, patriarch come and shut them down, quick fast. As far as in the Moorish movement, and then that pattern carried on through all the schools of thought, where even Nation of God's Earth, they're gonna say, you know, man's God and woman's earth. Like, that's it. She's just earth only. She's not stars and moons and all that. She's not water.
Right.
If the moon governs water, then water and moon are relative. No, if earth is mother, then you can't say that then the blackness of the universe is mother. If Africa's mother, then Asia has to be mother too. And Australia's mother, and Alaska, Antarctica is their mother, and Europe's mother.
Mhm. Well, that's why keep it. My fault. I don't want to cut your wisdom, but to keep in mind what you're saying. This is why all nations, they usually refer to their national belongings as her. Like, if you read in history, they'll be like, France and her ships traveled across the Atlantic, or Brittany and all of her whatever, or America and her resources. It's matriarchal. That's truth. That's truth. And it could be nothing but sons fighting on the front line. You know, all you hear about in history is, the sons and, who was warring with, muskets and spears and all of this here. But when they write it in the books, man, it goes down as, whatever nation state you're talking about, they always refer to it as her. You know what I mean? And that's true. So, yeah, I just wanted to add that on in conjunction with what you were saying, bro, at that particular time.
Right.
My fault, I really didn't want to cut your wisdom, bro, but you know what I mean? And I say that by honest historians anyway, to say the least. You know what I'm saying? Say the least.
It's a common theme. You know what I mean? That the involvement of mother needs to be accelerated, because patriarch been had this for 80 years. They ain't done nothing with it. You know what I mean? And, you can say whatever, but, sisters will get some brothers to do stuff faster than a brother will do it. That's just what it is.
Indeed.
Imagine the Moabites were the grand chiefs and the grand governors and the grand secretary and the grand treasurers and whatever.
Yeah.
Imagine they were that. Where would the Moorish movement be if, you know what I mean? When we say Moabites, we're not talking about, dirty Moabites, like
right.
The males who had this. We're talking about, sisters who are down with the movement, down with the studying, down with the bringing up their children right, and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine them running the Moorish movement, where it could go. Recognizing that, that's why there's a sister standing on law.
Indeed. Shout out to them. Definitely.
Shout out to them.
Yes. Absolutely.
That's why there's, you see, we know that Brother Abdullah is, master teacher, but, Sister Sailor Bay, she's coming on a different frequency, teaching the same information. Because it's the time now of the matriarch. Go back and read the stuff on the site with the CMB or whatever. Like,
but
the real eureka moment is sisters realizing that they're Moors. Them realizing that they're not Negro black color. Stuff will turn around tomorrow. You just put your mind on where a sister's energy is on some baby daddy BS or whatever, right? And the lengths that they go, whether we talk about sister in the hood or we talk about left eye burning down people's mansions and stuff like that, right? Mm-hmm. Regardless of what level it is. If we take that energy and put it the other direction now toward stuff that is beneficial to the nation, right? Like that sister whose son got pinned under some 50-ton whatever, and she lifted the stuff up. Although we take that energy and then put that towards for the nation and see where this goes. Because remember, it's your birthright. No different than, when Moors used to get mad because, in our temple, sisters wear feathers. Like, it ain't no big deal. You know what I mean? Hey, Moors mad.
God.
Moors mad. Yo, when I say Moors mad, emails, phone calls, you can't do that. Sisters wear turbans and stuff like that. And this is Moors in adept chamber and stuff like that. Moors who have titles of whatever. They've been on, whatever. And they're pushing some paper BS that sisters can't wear feathers.
Cool job. My fault. I don't mean to cut your wisdom. But right here, I have to interject, bro. Because I just showed my mom an old portrait from the 1800s. Powerful. I'm personally, when we get off the phone tonight, I'm going to send her that picture. And I'm not going to write anything to it. It's just going to be posted on RVBey, RVBeypublications.com. Excuse me. With a sister with the fez on. You're going to know it when you see it, and it's going to speak to your soul. If I'm not mistaken, there should already be, or it was a picture with a Moorish sister that had the fez on, and she was bearing arms. You know what I mean? But stunning, powerful, and hopefully I trust it could stay there for a minute. And then maybe, somebody, will write to it as far as what it is, man, because that is a modern concept. Like, women, they used to wear the fez. And you could check that out, too. I think that's Return of the Matriarch, where you got the European women wearing the white fez with gold tassels. What you thought? You know what I mean? The sons just jack the fez? Like, no, they wear the fez in the masculine secret societies and in the feminine secret societies. You know what I mean? However, who did they take that crown from? Moors. Like, by the time the sun is up, and I'm trusting, that this would be cool. By the time the sun is up, it should be another portrait on the homepage of RVBey Publications, fam. Because you said that, it gotta go up. It has to go up. Not just because you said it, but I know the timing is right. Because it is what it is. But y'all, I really didn't want to cut your wisdom. I wanted to add something on. You know what I mean? And staying on the theme of the 9 real quick, bro. Real quick. Now, what my fault? No. As a matter of fact, finish going in, because what you're saying, the people need to know that this is what goes on. You know what I mean? Like, this is the topic of conversation. Like, oh, she shouldn't have a fez on. he shouldn't have a turban on. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, these are unisex crowns, man. You know what I'm saying? It's no different than if you had a king or a queen throne of, quote, England, for example. You know what I'm saying? You can't be like, oh, the queen can't wear a crown, or, you know, the king can't wear a crown. Like, yo, fam, you know what I mean? These are crowns, bro. Like, this is what it is. And this is just what happens to be the common Moorish crown. One of many, but the ultimate, to say the least. You know what I'm saying? And to show that it's nothing new. You know what I mean? I really would like to put that portrait up. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's old. But, bro.
But yeah,
bro.
All that was to say that, you know, there's been patriarchal influence, which has manipulated Moorish behavior, right? And because there's always this focus on the apparent, is why Noble Drew Ali said, study, 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 so you could see behind the veil.
Mm-hmm.
And realize that what's being presented to you is a fraud. There's something deeper in it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so when you have, it's like we beat up on these Moors, that one of these Moors, reincarnate Moors, put out this book, and the cover of the book is the Moor standing on the rock of salvation with the sister unconscious laying on the ground.
The construction site.
And then he's standing behind her, getting ready to draw his sword, and the Moors that rep that are saying he's a protector.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, that's crazy.
The patriarchal influence. You know what I mean?
Indeed.
And it's specific to Moors that are not active. Put it like that. Inactive Moors are trapped in that patriarchal paradigm.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they're inactive. That's why they're you know, breasts don't work properly because they're inactive. They're male. They're stunted. They're patriarchal.
Word. I just wanted to add back on the science of the number 9, fam. On the science of the 9. I wanted to get back and thinking about the homepage of RVBeypublications.com right now. Those who have internet access, I would say go to that. But before I go into that, I want to say this. This is a quote about the number 9. This is from The Light of Egypt, page 29. And this is what it says, because we all know about the spiral 9, you know, the yellow brick road Dorothy was going down. All of this is metaphysically symbolic, you know, of finding yourself within. And this is what it says. The 4 mysteries of sex, right? It says the feminine forces are ever striving to encircle the atom, and the masculine forces striving to propel it in a straight line. From this dual action of the spiritual potentialities is born the spiral, the motion of life and symbol of eternal progression. All right. The motion of life and the symbol of eternal progression. So this is a dual a dual symbol, if you will. Not a dual symbol, but something that was caused, like, you know, you see in different, the farther you go back, like, they don't really refer to God as, you know, the Father. It's usually called the Mother Father, showing that the universe is everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's everything in that aspect. So that spiral 9 is going into the science here on page 29, you know. And again, you know, from those actions of encircling and propelling comes the spiral. Symbology, right? Noble Drew Ali said, man must learn by signs and symbols. I just want to quote this real quick. This is, again, from The Light of Egypt, classic book, in my opinion. It definitely is. This is page 91, La Clef Hermetica, section 1. It says, again, imagine the Earth's pole after a lapse of 648,000 years. Add that up, that's a 9, family, or 18, which 8 and 1 equals 9. And we shall now find that it is inclined at an angle of exactly 90 degrees. 9 plus 0, that's 9. For during this period, it has been slowly, and when it says during this period, it's talking about a cycle of 648,000 years. All right? It has been slowly but imperceptibly to the Earth's inhabitants, moving or inclining away from the pole of the ecliptic, the 12 signs of the zodiac, and the apparent yearly path of the sun are now vertical to the pole of the Earth. What will be the fearful geological results? Question mark. Why that our polar regions will have a tropical summer. Each year the sun will be vertical on the 21st of June to the North Pole and on the 21st of December to the South Pole. And also that every portion of the globe with the sun and Earth's pole in the position will witness a tropical summer and the Arctic winter. This accounts for and fully explains the existence of fossil remains of the seal, walrus, and polar bear in the burning plains of Africa and Hindustan, and of the tropical remains now being discovered in the Arctic region. No human being now living can conceive the fearful natural phenomena yearly transpiring during this period. For instance, all latitudes below the poles had 2 midsummers each year, because we know that the science of the number 9 correlates with the 360 degrees, etc., you know, of the Earth. The Earth is 360 degrees itself, or basically infinite. So with that being said, real quick, I just want to say we touched on this before, but if you go to the homepage of RVBey Publications right now, scroll down, click that article about the pole. Click that article about the pole. And to me, I still see that correlative with the science of the number 9. And the reason why I'm going to explain in a brief moment. But the elements don't lie. You mentioned something about the elements. My fault, and not to get off of what you were saying, but I still wanted to touch on this 9 before, you know, we got like 29 minutes left before the internet fees goes down. So I wanted to say this for those listening on the internet as well. You got to apply science to the number 9. We know that all mathematics are interrelated. So if you convert 100% to 300, to degrees, it comes out to 360 degrees, right? So 360 degrees, which the 3 plus the 6 plus the 0 is still a 9. All right, now keep this picture in mind. It's called windswept speech. And I just want to correlate how this goes into the science of the number 9. Just analyzing a word that we use to describe the elements. So earlier you mentioned the elements, and I just wanted to add on about the element of air, because I wasn't even inspired to look this word up until I actually saw that picture and analyzed it several times, you know. So this is the definition of air, 20th century unabridged dictionary, Webster's 1936. Now, I'm going to give you the basic, but then we're going to show the nine. All right, so we know air is a noun, Middle English, Old French, air, which is breath, Latin, air, Greek, air, which means mist, from in, to breathe, blow. All right. Air is all around us, right? So now, this is the entry-level meaning. It says air is the gaseous fluid, a gaseous fluid, which we breathe and which envelopes the earth, all right? So if the earth is 360 degrees and the air is enveloping the earth is infinite, just like the 360 degrees. No different than if you put your, quote, paycheck in an envelope, right? It has to be able to match the degrees in a certain aspect, just for example. So it says the gaseous fluid which we breathe and which envelopes the earth, the atmosphere, air, the inodorous, invisible, insipid, colorless, elastic, possessed of gravity, and easily moved, rarefied and condensed. It is composed of mechanically mixed oxygen and nitrogen in the relative volume of 21 to 79. Add up 21 and 79, which you have 100. You convert that 100 to degrees, got 360, which is a 9. All right. Or 23 to 77. All right. So you add up 23 and 77. Again, you have that 100. You convert that 100 to degrees, you got 360, which is a 9. Also, small percentages of carbon dioxide, aqueous vapor, nitric acid, ozone, and organic matter. 1,000 cubic inches of air at mean temperature and pressure weigh 30½ grains. All right. So, with that being said, you keep in mind that the science of the number 9 or 100, which is 360 really, still correlates with air. So I really think that when you look at this picture of the Pope, who is a substitute God, you know what I'm saying? Like that the poster boy of patriarch. You feel what I'm saying? Like this is him. And the universal energy brought a message. You can't tell me that's not something divine. There's like the ancestors was like, you know what? We're going to show y'all who this man really is. Because the number 9, you know, being the sign of divinity, this dude being a substitute for that science, you know what I'm saying, by claiming to be the father. When we break down the math it just gave about air, you know, matching 2179, matching 2377, then converting it to degrees, you know, like all of this still goes back to the science of the 9. So he went from white collar to clan member looking to wearing a hijab, doing the Moorish Islamic hand mudra. To show that what? In all reality, pictures worth 1,000, more than that. Those are 3 different pictures, but I'm just saying that the science of the number 9 is even in that. You feel what I'm saying? Like, look, man, look.
And you have to be in tune with the 9 to be able to even be in the position where that picture was, that you had the sight to say, yo, hold on a second, let me look at this, or let me take this in, or whatever. You know, like you had to be on the frequency of vibrating with the feminine principle in order to get that message, because that's not like, if these people who take pictures and stuff like that, you know what I mean? They'll tell you that they'll get stuff sometime that's not what they were taking a picture of.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But, you know, what they call divine intervention is deeper than what people think it is.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then people
standing where the Constitution and Declaration of Independence was signed, by the way, too. So, my fault. Go ahead, bro. Right.
It's that real. You know, especially in these times. You know, to be completely tapped in is to be vibrating as the universe vibrates.
Indeed.
You know what I mean? To be ocean, not a drop in it. You know, you have to be one with the vibration. And the vibration is feminine, and as soon as you fight it, no different than, you know, sister fight having her natural hair, now going bald because you've been doing weaves and extensions and all this crazy stuff when you have your own hair. You know what I mean? And nature doesn't respect no look good and all that stuff and make yourself look like whatever and have mirrors and all that stuff. Nature doesn't respect none of that. You see some, you know what I mean, alligator putting on lipstick before they come out, something. You know, you're not going to disrespect nature like that. You're not going to diss nature, go against nature, which ultimately is going against yourself.
Yeah.
When everything's laid down, just like we were saying, you know, all the countries are called her. Everybody calls their car her. Everybody calls their whatever her. Oh yeah, she was good and she everything. But it's under a patriarchal mindset, so it's not going to work. It's not real reverence. It's not real honor. Just like it's not real honor to claim to be Moor, but you call people black. You don't honor in that.
True.
Right? Ain't no honor to have know for a fact that women make up a high population of all these schools of thought, right? And all of them, except some women's rights, whatever, is run by males. You want to know how come stuff's not working? How come stuff's not working? How come we have what it takes or whatever? You know what I mean? On whatever level, on whatever perspective, right? What's available can be used to better everybody. But people are not doing it when stuff's sitting there. strayed away from your ancient foremothers and forefathers for 100 years. So the recoil has to be 100 years. You know what I mean? You're not gonna walk 100 steps that way and only walk 2 to get back to the first step of the 100 steps. You're gonna have to at least take 100 steps in the other direction where you should have been going in the first place. Which was laid down. That
Indeed.
This is not. We're not compared to any back to Africa patriarchal BS that you see that's going to be coming. No draw, he called everybody out. By putting the feminine principle back in the forefront. You really think that you know what I mean? No homo, but that's what the whole robe stuff is, dresses. If you really want to check the science, you know what I mean? Like for example, ballers know that the dunk-off that Larry Johnson was supposed to be in, he was supposed to do his whole thing in the grandma outfit, and he would have won the dunk-off. Because that concept was already created in the minds of the people, like just like how Dwight Howard dressed up like Superman or whatever. Right? But what is it? Take away from the feminine principle and then present it to you in the guy that does the dress up like the old lady. One of these actor guys. And he dresses up like the old lady and all of his comic stuff. That's the feminine principle now. Feminine principle is not something revered. Like revered on the level, like, you know, forget Kemet and all that stuff. And whatever physical things that we built. You know what I mean? Reverence for the elements and nature. Those feminine stuff. Because it's a science. Just like all the other science. Just like music is a science.
Yeah.
That you play the right song and you calm the savage beast.
Yeah. And with that said, real quick, with that said, I want to add on again, and you said this before, but you brought up music, and I was actually looking at this definition while you said it. It says music of the spheres, the harmony supposed to have been produced by the accordant movements of the heavenly bodies and heard only by the gods. Reference Webster's Unabridged Dictionary, page 1079. Right? Now, you keep in mind with music, you have 7 tones and 12 semitones, which the 7 is the Elohim and the 12 is the zodiac. Which when you do the math on that, 7 times 12 is 84, 8 plus 4 is 12, and each sign of the zodiac consists of 30 degrees, so 30 times 12 equals 360, which 3 plus 6 plus 0 equals 9. Hold on, another reference going into the 9. All right, polar motion. When this beautiful motion of the Earth's pole has become familiar, the student will begin to see the divine harmony of nature's grandest law. All right, we're talking about nature's grandest law which law causes every portion of our Earth's surface to become alternately a fruitful plain or barren waste, dry land or ocean bed. The Earth's pole moves in one uniform direction with a slow, imperceptible motion that forms, wow. I'm reading from The Light of Egypt, page 90. 90, that's all right. All right. The Earth's pole moves in one uniform direction with a slow, imperceptible motion that forms a spiral path in the heavens, consisting of a number of small spiral orbits or circles, one overlapping the other. These small spiral circles are termed values. Their true value in space being 3 degrees, 36 minutes, and 0 seconds. The motion of inclination of the pole is at the rate of 50 seconds of space per century, or 1 second in every 2 years. At this rate, it requires 7,200 years, which is a 9, to move over 1 degree. And as there are 360 degrees in the circle, or the pole's orbit, it takes 360, which is a 9, times 7,200, which is a 9, years, which equals to 2,592,000, which is a 9, years, to make a complete revolution of its orbit, or 100 solar years. 100 solar years, again, if you convert that to degrees, is 360 degrees, which is a 9. Damn, fam. Just wanted to add that on when you said music of the spheres. So, there you go. Light of Egypt, the knowledge of the soul and the stars. True. So,
this and the Mr. Dress Up was Tyler Perry I was talking about.
Oh, all right, my fault. True. Yeah, go in. Because, well, that being said, man, we must be going in. We have one caller. We have one caller at this particular time. So I had to handle the phone. Yeah. Before the internet feed goes down. And I'm hoping I'm not mistaken. But I really think this is Mother Anna E. Let's see. Pardon me if it's not, but I think so. See, we got a special guest before we leave the internet. All right. Call at 860-478. You're live on the air. Are you with us? Oh. Call at 860-478. Are you with us? All right. Well, that's cool. Nobody answering, but all is well. Oh, hold on. Pardon me. Caller 860. Are you there? All right. Yeah, pardon me. I apologize. But cool. We could still go in on the number 9 or whatnot. I just wanted to make sure, I didn't see the caller jumping off. All right. With that being said, we got another caller. Get into that. Caller 972-839. You're live on the air. Are you with us?
Yes, I'm with you. It's Norm. Miss Ram. Peace and love to Joe. It's Norm. I love the show. I love it. I love RVBey publication. I love all you true and honest and open Moor has the spirit. You got the spirit of Noble Jew Ali, and everything that you two Moors have stated is true and right to the fact. We in this society has been taught, and those Moors that have been with these so-called Europeans to do their devilish work has been setting up these so-called schools of colonialism and been teaching our people that the woman came from the man's rib. That's why the man got so many ribs than a woman. And I always ask the question, if that's true, so what man in history done had a baby? None. None to the fact. Lies upon lies, more lies upon more lies. Teach the truth. Speak the truth. And study. That's why I look at that picture of Noble Drew Ali carrying the mobile until they wake up and take their proper place and lead the nation as Allah has set it up. From the womb that we came forth, male and female, and we are here to study as our illustrious prophet brought forth. He stated, I have given you everything to save a nation. Now go out and save yourself. Islam, Moors.
Islam, Noble. Islam, thank you for that, man. Thank you for that. Always good to hear from you, bro. Peace.
Islam, peace.
Power. Peace and love. Cool.
Peace.
Thanks for calling in. Peace and love, Noble One. All
Peace
right.
and love.
All right. We're going to go to the next caller. But before I go on, before we end the show, I'm going to get back to the 860 caller. But I got to say, you know, on the strength that I thought, I was like, man, I hope this is Anna E. That if Anna E was on the line, the question on the table right now would be, if Ruth was a Moabite, where did Moabitess come from? I just want to say that. No, real talk, though. I couldn't go on without acknowledging that. Real talk. So salute to that. Islam. All right. Going to the next caller. All right. Caller 504. 504-338. You live on the air. All right.
Islam. Amaziah Mother's Biddy, all honest to all ancestors, seen and unseen, all honest to all prophets, all honest to Prophet Noble Drew Ali in the panel, and Mother.
Islam, Moor.
Salute, Moor. Peace, man.
Man, I just wanted, peace, Moor. I just wanted to say, man, it's a beautiful class, man. I know we on the signs of 9, you feel me? And, you know, on some personal stuff, this make me think about my descendant in a certain situation that we come apart, you know, going through our travel in life. So I just want to say this is a beautiful show, man, to empower me with my personal endeavors, you feel me? Because Allah basically guides this movement, and that's what it is in exact.
Mm-hmm. Man, that's peace.
I just want to say my peace, you hear me? That's all. Peace and love, brother.
Thank you, brother. Peace and love, Noble. We appreciate that. That's peace, man. So yeah, that's what we have for, man. To the information and trust that it helps everybody who receives it. If anybody has more concepts to add on, because we could go infinite on this number 9. You know what I mean? But thank you, bro. We appreciate that.
Peace and love.
Peace and love, Noble. All right. Cool. All right. So with that being said, we're going to go to our next caller. All right. Islam caller 804-921. Live on the air. Are you with us, man? Islam, Noble.
Brothers. Yes, sir.
Peace, bro.
Yes, sir. This is Zad. Y'all are rocking this call
brother
out, man.
From the Chaco Slips.
There you go. You know it.
All right.
Two things. Like I said, you brothers, I wish that you all would do this call more often. I'm talking about like 4 times a month. You know, I don't, you know, let's get this thing 4 times a month, you know, so every Thursday, you know. So the big thing right now as a question, you know, because it's a big difference. Like I have a couple of brothers that are, you know, of the nation, and a lot of them, they don't believe in the mother, or the woman first. And I don't even want to understand why they think that way. And they're very strong on that. They're
right.
very strong on that, and it's kind of ironic that they think that way. So if you all could speak to that, that would probably bring some light to that for me.
Indeed, we will do that. But real quick, I just want to thank everybody who listened via the internet for tuning in. The show will go down in about a minute and a half for you all, but feel free to go back to the archives and get the rest, listen to the rest of this broadcast. If you can't tonight, it'll be available for download shortly after this class ends, which maximum time will be 12 o'clock a.m. So thank you. But yes, indeed, back to the Brethren's question. Did you want to go in on that first, Cool Joe?
Yeah.
Because I was going to say.
I was just going to say just what you said, that look at how Noble Drew Ali told the Moors that Ruth was a Moabite, but you have all these Moors calling sisters Moabites.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have to constantly keep in mind that once you are following the process and procedure influenced by Rome, you're going to be patriarchal. So if they say Moorish Science Temple of America have pictures of Noble Drew Ali and all that stuff, but they're fighting